I never congratulate anybody, okay? Even my drivers and stuff. You put them out there, you expect them to win the race. That's what you put them out there for.
NASCAR fans were stunned. Richard Petty finally broke his silence after Bubba Wallace's huge Brickyard 400 win, but his words weren't what people expected. Instead of joining the celebration, Petty's comments lit up a major debate. Why now? And why Bubba? Let's break it down. This isn't just any driver talking. This is Richard Petty, the man known as the King, a 7-time Cup Series champion, and the most iconic name in NASCAR history. Wallace's win at Indianapolis ended a long 100 race drought, a breakthrough moment many thought would unite the garage in applause. But Petty didn't join in. Instead, he made clear his rule about recognition. Drivers shouldn't be congratulated for simply doing their job. In August 2025, Wallace delivered an emotional Brickyard 400 victory. The crowd erupted, social media lit up, and fellow competitors lined up to offer handshakes. It looked like the perfect comeback story. Wallace, now 31, showed his growth and determination as he celebrated in victory lane with his team. Yet amid the cheers, one key voice stayed quiet: Richard Petty. Why the silence? Petty explained it himself on the Full Race Recap podcast. His stance is simple.
You put them out there, you expect them to win the race. That's what you put them out there for.
For Petty, winning is part of the job, not an extraordinary event that demands applause. Younger fans called it harsh, but for those familiar with Petty's no-nonsense approach, it was vintage King, consistent, firm, and unapologetic. Petty emphasized that his view wasn't personal toward Wallace. It was about principle. In his eyes, respect in NASCAR is built through long-term consistency, not single race results. But then came the revelation that added fuel to the fire. Petty admitted there are two drivers he would publicly celebrate: Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. Both compete for Legacy Motor Club, the organization that grew from Petty's own team. To Petty, the number 43 and number 42 cars remain linked to his legacy. There's a couple right now. The 43 driver and 42 driver, okay? Because we're still associated with those two numbers, he explained. Fans were surprised by what Petty said. Wallace once drove the number 43 car and helped keep the team going during hard times. Many people thought Petty should have at least mentioned that. But for Petty, things changed when Wallace left to drive for 23XI Racing with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. From then on, Wallace was just another driver to beat. Some people thought Petty's view was cold, while others said it was fair because he treats everyone the same. This shows a big difference in how people see NASCAR. Back when Petty raced, winning was expected. Drivers didn't cheer for their rivals. Racing was about staying tough, working hard, and being the best. Even Petty, with his 200 wins, didn't always get much praise. That shaped how he thinks today. But now NASCAR is different. Drivers often celebrate each other, fans want more emotion, and people like to see respect. That's why Petty's way of thinking feels old compared to today's NASCAR. Petty's loyalty to Legacy Motor Club adds another layer. Though Jimmy Johnson is now the primary owner, Petty still represents the team publicly and maintains deep ties to its history. If Jones or Nemechek succeed, Petty feels it reflects on his legacy. But the issue is that Jones hasn't won since 2022, and Nemechek is still searching for his first Cup Series win. At this moment, Petty has nobody in the winner's circle to celebrate, and that makes his silence about Wallace even louder. Meanwhile, Wallace continues to push forward. His Brickyard win brought confidence, sponsors, and renewed energy to his season. Driving for 23XI Racing, he's in the middle of the playoff fight and focused on performance. Away from the track, Wallace made it clear he isn't interested in team ownership after his driving career ends. When asked about following legends like Petty or Joe Gibbs into ownership, he responded, no desire. Even with Michael Jordan as a model, Wallace doesn't see ownership in his future. Instead, he's looking at other opportunities. Broadcasting is one possibility, if the compensation makes sense. Beyond that, Wallace has a strong passion for photography. He's been active with a camera since 2011, sharing creative shots of landscapes, portraits, and life away from racing. On a recent trip to Mexico City, he captured striking street photography with his Leica M3. His future goals include photographing the Dolomite Mountains in Italy, California's giant redwoods, and the icy beauty of Iceland. For Wallace, these outlets provide balance and expression outside of the competitive world of NASCAR. For now, though, his focus remains the playoffs. With the round of 12 set in New Hampshire, Wallace aims to keep his momentum alive. His Brickyard win gave him more than just points. It gave him a boost of confidence and a reminder that he belongs in the championship picture. Fans remain split over Petty's remarks. Some say Petty is stuck in the past, refusing to adapt to a changing sport. They argue that Wallace's achievement deserved recognition, especially given his connection to Petty's team history. Others defend Petty, insisting he is simply consistent and fair, treating all drivers by the same code. The conversation has exploded on social media, with strong opinions on both sides. Was Petty being mean to Wallace, or was he just holding firm to his belief system? What's clear is that this discussion is about more than Wallace or Petty. It reflects the ongoing tension in NASCAR between tradition and evolution. Petty shows the tough old way of racing, where winning was normal and not something people cheered about. Wallace and today's generation of drivers embody a different culture, one that values recognition, unity, and shared emotion. Wallace's Brickyard victory highlighted the joy and spirit of modern NASCAR. Petty's silence highlighted the rigid pride of the old school. Both perspectives are powerful, but they don't easily align. And as the sport continues to grow and bring in younger fans, these cultural differences will become even more noticeable. Here's the bottom line. Wallace's breakthrough win became a turning point in his season. Fans in the stands cheered, fellow drivers gave him respect, and social media was full of celebration. But Richard Petty stood apart. He chose not to congratulate Wallace, even though Wallace once drove his legendary number, 43 car. Instead, Petty made clear that the only drivers he would support are Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, both connected to Legacy Motor Club. For Wallace, there were no words of praise. This moment is about more than racing stats. It shows the gap between NASCAR's old-school mindset and the culture of today's sport. What do you think? Should Richard Petty have celebrated Bubba Wallace's win, or was he right to follow his own rules? Drop your opinion in the comments, hit like for more NASCAR stories, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. One thing is clear, this conversation is far from finished. Cleetus McFarland stepped into NASCAR, and everything felt different. People started talking, but no one knows what's really going on. What did he do, and why now? Something strange is happening, and it all starts here. Stafford Speedway hosted the Cleetus McFarland. At the New England 900, Cleetus McFarland turned a simple race into a wild party. He brought old Crown Vics with nitrous and train horns instead of fancy cars. Thousands came, not just to see who won, but to feel the noise, the fun, and the chaos. Racing felt alive again. It wasn't just about speed, it was about moments you'd never forget. Now here's what's happening. Word on the track is that Ram, the truck brand, might be eyeing a return to the NASCAR Truck Series. They've been absent full-time for more than 10 years, letting Ford, Chevrolet, and Toyota dominate. But now Ram might come back and Cleetus McFarland could be behind the wheel. That possibility alone has started real talks. This isn't just about horsepower, it's about bringing in a whole new group of fans. A well-known brand teaming up with a huge online creator could draw massive attention. NASCAR leaders see the chance. More brands mean more rivalry, more sponsors, more fans. The thought of Cleetus behind the wheel of a Ram truck in an official race isn't just exciting, it's wild. He might not bring years of traditional experience, but he brings eyes, he brings energy, and most of all, he brings that unpredictable spark that NASCAR has been missing. His very presence could turn quiet race weekends into full-on events. Suddenly, it's not just gearheads in the crowd. It's families, teenagers, people who only knew racing through highlight reels and viral clips. Some say Cleetus might be what NASCAR needs to break into the digital world full force. His name alone brings headlines. His face shows up in thumbnails across millions of screens. Whether he's racing, building engines, or joking around with friends, he keeps fans watching. And when someone like that joins NASCAR, it doesn't just shake things up, it forces change. Cleetus might race part-time, or he might help promote and create content behind the scenes. He could race, post videos, film the behind-the-scenes action, or maybe all of it. A full season, though? That's 25 tough races from February to November. It means practices, travel, qualifying, and staying focused for nearly a year. That might be too much while also keeping up his video and event work. Still, his promotional power is colossal. He commands millions of followers. His energy has the potential to pull in younger fans, kids and teens, and anyone who loves wild spectacles in a way nothing else can. Videos, behind the scenes, content, creative truck-themed clips, it could reshape how the sport is seen. Now picture this. In a quiet meeting room, a NASCAR team looks at everything. The packed stands at the New England 900. The cheers, the chaos, the excitement, and they decide they want Cleetus. Not as a joke, not for one race. They want him on the team. They didn't worry about mistakes or wild moves. They saw real energy. Like a superhero or a wrestling villain, fans react to him. That's what NASCAR needs. They want big stories. They want fans to care again. So they picked McFarland. What makes this even more surprising is how quickly it all happened. It wasn't some long, drawn-out pitch. It wasn't months of slow meetings. From what insiders say, it took just a few talks, a few key races, and the team said yes. That kind of decision is rare in NASCAR. Usually, it takes months, sometimes years. But Cleetus, he made it happen fast. Picture the moment he shows up. Crews in fire suits rush the garage. People turn their heads at a Crown Vic-style truck. The noise, the color, the cameras. McFarland has arrived. Fans follow. They film it. They cheer. It feels like a full show. It raises another question. What does this mean for other drivers? If Cleetus can make the jump, who's next? Will other YouTubers or online stars get their shot too? And what about sponsors? Many of them have already started shifting their focus to digital creators who bring guaranteed views. A creator like Cleetus doesn't just show up to race. He shows up with a camera crew, a brand voice, and a built-in audience. That kind of attention is hard to ignore. But not everyone is happy. In the background, some teams are upset. They've worked for years chasing sponsors, proving themselves. Now, a YouTuber walks in and gets a big chance. One team member said it feels like skipping the line at Daytona. We work hard, now we race against train horns. You can see why some are angry. NASCAR has rules. This isn't how it normally works, but maybe that's why it is working. Fans want more than lap times. They want drama, emotions, drivers calling each other out, slammed doors, real moments. And Cleetus brings that without even trying. When he walks into the paddock, people don't just clap, they wait for what he does next. NASCAR needs that. The Truck Series is where bold choices are tested. This is the biggest one in years. If the plan works, more people might watch NASCAR than ever before. Kids, teens, and new fans might start watching. Sponsors will notice. Big brands might come back. The sport could grow again. And this isn't just about filling seats. This is about stories. NASCAR used to thrive on rivalries, on larger-than-life drivers who made headlines both on and off the track. McFarland might be the first in a long time to bring that feeling back. Every time he races, there's a story. Every time he posts, fans tune in. But what if it doesn't work? Could this all fall apart before it even begins? When he joins, everything changes. He's no longer just a showman. He has to follow NASCAR rules and race against professionals who trained their whole lives. If he fails, critics will be ready. Some fans love this change. They think it's fresh and exciting. One fan said racing should be fun, and they'd rather watch Cleetus's Crown Vic show than another boring track race. But others are not so sure. One fan said he isn't a racer. He's a personality. This isn't a show. This is NASCAR. So which is it? Is NASCAR a sport or a show? It has always been both. Dale Earnhardt didn't just win. He told a story. Rusty Wallace made people feel something. The best moments were not just finishes, they were the drama in between. That's what McFarland brings. Now he has a choice. Go all in and race full-time or stay part-time and keep being the link between racing and entertainment. Either way, he's now part of NASCAR's future. Some are cheering, some are doubting, but everyone is watching. Is Cleetus saving the sport or turning it into a circus? Hit the subscribe button if you're ready for more chaos, more controversy, and more drama from the heart of NASCAR.
Bonsai into the corner. Zilisch overshoots it. He's going to have to go through the A-frames. They're spinning in turn 2. Unbelievable restart with 7 laps to go. Austin Hill is your race leader.
It's a loser's strategy, but it is a strategy, and it is beneficial if you can, if it works out the way you plan.
Connor Zilisch did something during a race in 2025 that made everyone stop and stare. Fans didn't know what to think. The drivers were shocked, and one racing star said it might change the sport forever. What happened on that track? Why is everyone still talking about it today? You won't believe the story behind this moment. It all started with a nearly flawless performance. Zilisch, just 19 years old and returning from a collarbone injury, led 70 of 78 laps and swept both stages. This was his 8th win of the season and marked yet another milestone in what's been a breakout year for the young driver. But while the scoreboard celebrated his dominance, the final moments of the race told a different story. In the last restart during overtime, Zilisch locked up heading into turn 1. Instead of taking the corner, he veered off the racing line and cut through a designated escape path marked by A-frame signs. This chicane is meant to serve as a self-penalty for drivers who miss the corner, but in Zilisch's case, it became his golden ticket. While chaos and collisions erupted behind him, Zilisch bypassed the mayhem and re-entered the track with a clear lead. NASCAR chose not to penalize him, citing that the move was within the current rules. The decision caught many off guard, leaving some fans cheering and others scratching their heads in disbelief. The lack of a penalty quickly became the main topic of conversation across the racing community.
Zilisch is there. Look at Wallace out of line. Bonsai into the corner. Zilisch overshoots it. He's going to have to go through the A-frames. They're spinning in turn 2. Unbelievable restart with 7 laps to go. Austin Hill is your race leader.
That decision lit a fire. Denny Hamlin didn't mince words. On his podcast, he described the win as very controversial, raising questions about whether Zilisch even attempted to make the corner or had always planned to exploit the chicane. Hamlin pointed out that by skipping turn 1 and using the escape route, Zilisch gained 2 critical advantages. He avoided potential contact in a wreck-prone zone, and he lost little to no time. In fact, the design of the chicane made it nearly as fast as staying on the racing line. Hamlin's criticism wasn't aimed at Zilisch's talent. He acknowledged that the best car and the best driver had won the race. But for him, the real issue was the rules and track design that allowed a move like that to go unpunished. According to Hamlin, this wasn't just a one-off problem. He emphasized that similar issues with chicanes and escape lanes had been around for years, and yet NASCAR had done little to address them. The frustration wasn't limited to Hamlin. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also spoke out, criticizing the corner design at Portland and suggesting it should be eliminated altogether. He argued that if a self-penalty system can be gamed so easily, then it's not doing its job. Many fans agreed. Social media lit up with discussions about whether Zilisch had essentially cheated the system, even if he hadn't technically broken any rules. The inconsistency in NASCAR's enforcement also came under the spotlight. Hamlin reminded everyone of the 2022 incident involving Ross Chastain at the Indianapolis road course. Chastain had used an access road during a restart, trying to avoid a wreck. NASCAR handed him a heavy penalty for that move, yet Zilisch, who pulled a nearly identical stunt, was allowed to keep his win. This double standard raised eyebrows and added fuel to the controversy. Zilisch himself addressed the situation after the race. He admitted that during practice he had tested the chicane and found that it wasn't significantly slower. He said it was never his plan to take that route during the race, but when the brakes locked up, it was his only option. His post-race comments made it clear that he didn't feel like he had done anything wrong. In his mind, it was a case of using what was available to survive the restart.
Don't hate the player, man.
Well, he did it once prior, and NASCAR said it was clean, so
he just got faster at doing it the next time. And from what I understand is that Xfinity teams were practicing running that chicane during practice.
But Hamlin wasn't buying it. He suggested that Zilisch might have made the move deliberately, knowing full well the advantages it could offer. Even if that wasn't the case, the fact that the system allowed such a possibility was, in Hamlin's eyes, a massive failure by NASCAR. He called it poor planning and said that the organization needs to find a way to ensure that cutting the track truly penalizes the driver. Fans watching the race were split. Some applauded Zilisch for using smart racecraft under pressure, taking a legal route to avoid disaster. Others felt cheated, believing that the integrity of the finish was compromised. For a sport that prides itself on competition and fairness, That's a dangerous line to walk. The situation also brought up deeper questions about how NASCAR adapts to new generations of drivers. Young talents like Zilisch are sharp, calculated, and willing to exploit every inch of the rulebook to win. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's part of racing. But the responsibility lies with the sport's governing body to make sure the rulebook can withstand that level of scrutiny. In this case, it didn't. Zilisch's win will stand. But the controversy surrounding it isn't going away.